Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, middle class, upper class, high class, cats, snakes, chickens, ducks, police officers, firemen, EMTs, whatever, whoever may be watching. It's your old buddy Zach, the Incredible Impression here. Currently here in Clermont, Florida, actually in Veterans Park, and as you can see in front of me, quick pan, there is the lake, there's boat ramps here, there's picnic areas. Just a beautiful, beautiful park. And over there was a police officer getting ready to launch his boat. There, as a matter of fact, he goes. I guess he was just dropping his boat off or something. But anyway, today's Incredible Impression is another unsolved mysteries topic. We're gonna quick pan again, and I hate it when I accidentally miss the button. We're gonna go on another incredible adventure. Another unsolved mysteries topic, which I'll explain in 3, 2, 1. To start this topic, we have to go all the way back to 1968, August of 1968 to be exact. A woman named June Farris of Richmond, Virginia, began being plagued by a mysterious dream about a house that she could not explain, she'd never seen before, she'd never been in. And in the dream, it always happened the same way. She would come out of the master bedroom. She knew that there were 2 flights of stairs in the house. There was a front staircase and a rear staircase. She always took the rear staircase downstairs in the dream. She would come out, turn to the left, go through the kitchen, take a right out the back door onto the back porch. And as soon as the door shut behind her is when she would wake up. She had no explanation for it. She just put it into the back of her mind until, fast forward to 1972, 4 years later, when her and her family relocated from Richmond to Orlando. 2 years later, she was driving through Clermont, Florida, where we are right now. She chanced upon a house that, in Robert Stack's words, intrigued her. I cannot do Robert Stack. He's one of them that I'm working on, but I still can't get it right. But she came upon a house that intrigued her. She called the realtor. She set up an appointment to go through the house, and she brought a friend with her. Now, this is where things began to take an odd turn. Once inside the house, she began to experience an eerie sensation as if she had been here before. It was like a deja vu. As they went upstairs and looked around, they were coming out of the master bedroom, and her friend pointed out that there were more stairs going down, and she said, "I know this place." They go downstairs to the left through the kitchen and out the back door. And her friend said, "How do you know all this?" She said, "I've dreamt about this place." She said it was not an eerie feeling. It was not a scary feeling, but a feeling as if the house was saying, "You belong here. Welcome home. Where have you been all these years?" So to continue the story, June, her husband, and 3 of their children moved in to the Victorian house in 1978, I do believe. Don't quote me on that. I think it was 1978. But almost immediately, strange occurrences began happening. A boat that they had set up, that they owned, was pulled off the saw table that it was sitting on, and it did it twice, as a matter of fact. And their daughter, Robin, noticed it as it happened, and her father thought that it was her doing it. So he went up and put the boat back on the saw table. As soon as he stepped away, the thing was lifted off and dropped again. So they didn't really think too much about it. But then things started happening that began going into the realm of the paranormal. And pretty soon, more and more and more odd occurrences began happening. Their daughter had a collection of music boxes, and they started turning on in the middle of the night, on and off, and their daughter eventually just said she was intrigued by it. And then nobody had ever seen a ghost in the house, but strange occurrences just kept happening. Doors would slam open and shut. There would be strange noises everywhere, footsteps. And then her grandson, June's grandson, was actually sleeping over at her house, and he was awakened in the middle of the night by an apparition. A man, maybe in his late 30s to early 40s, was standing over her grandson's bed, reaching out to him, and her grandson screamed bloody murder. And they knew then that they had a ghost in the house. So one day, June's son-in-law, Bob Vitter, I think I got his name right, Bob Vitter, went to the local library here in town, which, as a matter of fact, is right up the road from where we are now. I just passed it coming down here. He went to the local library and started researching if there was history about the old house. And he found volumes of old newspapers, and there was an article about the owner of the house in 1975. His name, John Harden. John Harden grew up in Florida, married his high school sweetheart, Rita. They had a few kids together, and then out of nowhere, John left his family, just abandoned them. A year and a half later, he had remarried, moved to Clermont, purchased the house that June and her family had purchased years later. Things were going well, and then one night he was awakened by the sound of a roaring fire outside of his house and to the smell of smoke. He looked out his bedroom window, realized that his truck was on fire. He ran downstairs. As he attempted to put the fire out, somebody hidden from sight in the bushes of his house fired a shotgun and killed John Harden. Nobody has ever been arrested for the crime. It remains unsolved. The case was closed several years ago, but it has been reopened, and the investigation and the manhunt is still ongoing. They found the murder weapon in the bushes, but there were no fingerprints, no nothing. And so, in the end, when June Farris was talking to the investigators and some other people, she learned that the pathway that John Harden took from his bedroom down to his driveway where he was murdered was the exact same path that she had taken in her dream. She felt at that point he was possibly trying to tell her something, trying to tell her who did this to him so his spirit could rest in peace. Again, the investigation is still ongoing. Nobody has ever been arrested, and frankly, it breaks my heart when murders go unsolved. So I hope that this vlog, I know other YouTubers have vlogged this as well, but I hope that this vlog here today makes such an incredible impression on somebody that if they know who committed the murder, whether the suspect or suspects are still alive or have passed on, if somebody knows who committed the murder of John Harden, please come forward. Again, this channel is The Incredible Impression. The Incredible Impression. What is the incredible impression? To leave a lasting impression on my viewers and on the world. So, if anyone knows who may be responsible for it, if anyone knows who was responsible for the murder of John Harden, please get a hold of your local law enforcement agency or the Clermont Police Department, because his spirit needs closure. He needs to be able to rest in peace after all these years. Now, I don't know if there's anybody currently living in the house. I don't know if there has been any other ghostly activity going on, but All I do know is, going back to the incident with June's grandson, John Harden was very protective of his children that he had with his wife Rita. They would go in, he would go into their bedroom every night and would check on them, and he was just very protective. He would make sure that they were not wrapped up in the blankets or anything. And so June believes that John Harden's spirit is being very protective of her grandchildren. But it scared her grandson so much to the point where June went into his bedroom and talked to the spirit of John Harden and said, "Please do not come back in here. Please leave my grandson alone. You are scaring him." And from that point on, according to June, he did not show up. Or if he did, her grandson did not wake up. So I truly don't believe that the spirit of John Harden was there to harm the family, to spook them. I believe he was there in a way to protect the house, to protect the occupants, and also to hopefully end up finding the party responsible for killing him. So the house is actually 0.8 miles away from here. I'm looking at my my maps here on the swamp, and so we're going to go down to the actual house, and I'm going to show you certain areas where things happen. I'm going to line up a couple of the shots maybe from Unsolved Mysteries. I just hope nobody, gets suspicious of me there and says, "Hey, get off my property, get off my land, get off my land, get off my land." But if somebody does come out, I'll just explain what I'm going to do, like I always do. Again, the quote I make no bones about the fact that I'm going to go in there. So let's go show you guys the murder house of John Harden. Okay, guys, here's the house. The old house where John Harden lived, where June Farris and her family lived, and the location where John Harden was sadly murdered at. The driveway where he was murdered is around that way. I'll take you guys over there and show it to you real quick, but I don't want to spend too much time here because there are clearly many no trespassing signs on the property. I'm guessing they get a lot of people, curious onlookers here, coming to see this notorious house. I definitely don't want to upset the owners or anything, but this is the house, guys. That there is the driveway where the boat incident happened. And look, there's even a boat on the property. I don't know if I don't think June Farris and her family still live there. As a matter of fact, no, they do not. But the new owners who moved in right after the Farrises moved out also claimed to hear and see strange apparitions and occurrences that they could not explain. As a matter of fact, when Unsolved Mysteries filmed there, they had their own amount of technical difficulties. The link to the Unsolved Mysteries episode is in the description below, as well as the entire story. Now, I did not cover really every single detail about the incident, but I did what I could to describe most of it. But for the most part, I did cover a lot of it. Now again, if anyone happens to know what may have happened, who may be responsible for John Harden's murder, I'm sure his descendants would definitely appreciate the closure to this very heartbreaking and ongoing saga. Back in the park here where we were just a little bit ago. You know, that thing right there, the three C's there, I thought at first that they were replicas of the 5 Olympic rings, but I guess they're not. Wow, this is some area here. Some back roads. Kind of reminds me of the back roads of Lancaster and Pennsylvania. Old Amish country in a way. Wow, deja vu. It's almost like I'm back in PA. We have just crossed into the town of Montverde, Florida. And to the right, turning here, is the Montverde United Methodist Church. And behind it is the Montverde Cemetery. And this is the final resting place of John Harden. We're gonna go park and see if we can't go pay our respects, guys. Here it is, the final resting place of John W. Harden, A2C, U.S. Air Force. Born January 20th, 1942. Sadly departed before his time on March 22nd, 1975. And he is laid to rest here at the Montverde Cemetery, outside of the Montverde United Methodist Church in Montverde, Florida. It's a very small cemetery, but it's very tranquil here, just like all cemeteries are. There is an angel statue here that is fallen on another grave. Pick it up and put it there. Show a little respect. Show a little respect for Billie Jean Morin. Well, to be quite honest with you guys, I was not expecting to find Mr. Harden's grave site. I thought possibly that the cemetery was a lot bigger and maybe a lot more spacious, a lot harder to find. But no, as I came up, I noticed right over here the Harden family name, which is right there in front of you. And John Harden is not very far from there. He's actually, you can see his grave right there. That's his plaque. And that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, as usual. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification so you'll know when more incredible vlogs are headed your way. That's going to do it for today, guys. Thanks again. I'll see you guys on the next one. Today's incredible impression is over. If you have any information that may lead to the arrest and conviction of John Harden's killer, please contact the Clermont, Florida Police Department at 352-394-5588 or call your local law enforcement agency. Even though 50 years have gone by since the murder, it's not too late to bring justice in this case and bring long-awaited closure to John Harden's family.